right.
Yeah.
Cool. So there's been a lot of happenings in the movie world, and we wanted to catch up on some of them. Since we last spoke, Amazon has used their newly asserted control of the Bond franchise to move the next film closer to production by announcing a surprising name as director, none other than our guy, Denis Villeneuve. He's Arturo's favorite, Amanda's countryman, my favorite director whose name I'd like to mispronounce. Denis Villeneuve will helm the next Bond, and although we don't know when he'll make it or who will play Bond, Amanda, are you up or down on this news?
The only thing that could make me down is that I think he's got the franchise that he should be focusing on right now, which is Dune.
Right.
And I like it when he's doing his own thing, but I also have nothing but the utmost trust. The man can do any genre. There's nothing he's hasn't touched on that he hasn't knocked out of the park. He has some of the most memorable cartel movies, one of the most school shooting movies. He's got, a cop movie.
My favorite Alien Arriving on Earth movie maybe.
Exactly. Like, there's nothing that he has done that isn't masterclass. So if giving him Bond, he's gonna knock it out of the park. There's no shot he's not gonna be good. And then picking someone like him to direct shows that they aren't just trying to be like, fuck, we finally got the rights from, what is it, the Broccolis? The Broccoli
Yeah, exactly.
family?
The Broccoli family.
We finally got everything
the most
from them.
delicious
Let's
family
just start
in cinema.
pushing everything out we can. No, you're getting someone who is like very much tapped to a massive IP right now, who is known for being very meticulous. It means you do care, which is smart, because I feel like a lot of these studios have all these big IPs. They're so focused on maintaining them, see Jurassic Park, that they're not always concerned about like the quality that's going into them or like what they need to do to maintain the quality.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think most of my concerns come from Amazon sort of fast tracking this in a way, because I like the deliberate pace at which the Broccoli family tended to approach this, to not flood the space with too many 007 movies, right?
Yeah.
That all being said, like, it's Denis Villeneuve.
I trust him.
The guy has not made a movie I don't like.
And
like
he's a
you,
machine.
maybe. Yeah, and he keeps making them, right? I, like you, am maybe a little bit concerned that he's spending so much time in the IP waters. If this is the movie that he makes after Dune Messiah, it will be 5 straight movies that he's made based on like existing IP that's already had previous movies. Blade Runner being amongst them, but those are all really good movies.
They're all great.
I don't know. Yeah,
I have no complaints.
I'm
just like to see what his brain would come up with.
I agree with you. So I'm definitely more up on this news than down. But
absolutely,
I'll see some downsides too.
To me, it would just be so easy for them just to pick a no name, because that's what everyone seems to do, is just pick some random person that will do whatever they want. And this one was like, no, they're definitely picking someone who's gonna like have a backbone and have thoughts. So that's something, at least.
A lot of people were hoping that they would maybe go with Christopher Nolan. He kind of made his version of a Bond movie in Tenet. A lot of people were saying Paul King would have been really interesting. I don't know. I would be down for Paul King's Wonka movie, but we'll see. Or Bond Wonka, rather. Bonka.
Bonka.
Aaron Sorkin, writer of The Social Network, the 10th best film of the 21st century, according to the New York Times, we'll get to that, will both write and direct a follow-up, currently being referred to as The Social Network 2, adapted from the Wall Street Journal article The Facebook Files by Jeff Horowitz. Amanda, do you think this movie has a shot at living up to the first one, or do you think if Aaron Sorkin could have directed The Social Network, he would have directed The Social Network?
That one.
Yeah.
No offense, I love Sorkin. He's a great writer, but that movie works so well because it's the pairing of Sorkin with Fincher. It's the fact that Sorkin writes this script that should not have been able to work in less than like 3 hours, and Fincher's like, I can do it in 2, and give you the montage of Jesse Eisenberg running through campus so that everybody gets mentioned before the movie even starts. I don't know if I trust Sorkin to be that tight, to be that discerning of what belongs and what doesn't. I would like to, if it was going to come back, I would have liked to have been the same creative team all around.
Yeah, I mean, there are stories about Fincher's ruthlessness behind the scenes with the script, particularly, and how he really streamlined a lot of it. And I think generally speaking, sometimes like to balance people, it helps to have different creative voices at the helm. We were talking earlier about how 28 years later partially works as well as we think it does because it is this collaboration between pretty disparate filmmakers in Alex Garland and Danny Boyle. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of the magic formula here. And if we look at the movies that Aaron Sorkin has actually directed, Trial of Chicago 7, Being the Ricardos, like it's just not, doesn't instill a lot of faith. Yeah,
I think it's going to feel too much like the courtroom settings in Social Network, but like the whole way through. I just don't know though. It really depends on how he wants to approach it, but it's hard because like obviously the Social Network's legacy is so massive that you're already batting against yourself, even if it's exactly the same people, exactly the same team. So I don't know.
If this movie is definitely happening, would you prefer if we see like Jesse Eisenberg return to the role of Mark Zuckerberg, or do you kind of want a fresh start?
Ooh, it's hard to say, because if this is supposed to be the Social Network too, then I do want him back. It should be him. But if it's supposed to just be like because like with the Social Network, it's very loosely based off of like, and it's really just kind of taking its own stance. Like a bunch of the stuff with like the Erica character was not real, or at least. So like they've literally said that the movie could have been about a very particular like successful brand of toaster and it would have been just as good. It's not Facebook that makes it interesting, but if this one ends up being more focused on like the legacy of Facebook, what Facebook has caused, why Facebook has ruined my dad. That is almost like a different thing that's very pointed and maybe could have a different person, but I don't know. I feel like with a different person, it's going to feel like S. Darko or something, even though that was the same actress. But it's just going to feel like some weird, like disconnected sequel that like no one was straight to something that no one really wanted or needed. Yeah. So.
A tough balance.
It's tough.
You may be thinking, why isn't David Fincher directing the sequel to The Social Network? Well, aside from apparently working on Squid Game America, Fincher is set to direct a sort of sequel spin-off project from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's set to be written by Quentin Tarantino and starring Brad Pitt, reprising his role from the film. Amanda, do you think this is a good use of all of these people's time and talent?
No. Maybe it'll be great, but Tarantino is, I love you, but you've gotten it in your head so much that you need to do 10 and be done that it's made you give up on a movie you sounded really excited about when you're talking about it at Cannes, the critic, and now you're letting someone else direct your writing, which I know you're not a fan of. So it just feels weird. I'm like, just give it up. You don't have to do 10 and be done. You can just keep going. You know you like doing what you do. Just enjoy it and do it until you can't anymore. Be Scorsese. Be Scorsese.
Right? Yeah, I mean, there's no shame in having a big filmography, yet Tarantino is like so obsessed with the idea of his DVD box set. I get it. Like as a collector of DVDs, it's cool. Yeah, right? Like you can find other numbers. He's got enough life in him that he could do 20 maybe.
I'm sure he's probably just he doesn't want to hit the point where people are like, he keeps doing the same things. But I don't know if that's like a huge concern because he is kind of constantly switching it up, or at least the themes. Like he certainly doesn't run the risk of that happening versus like Wes Anderson having it happening or Guy Ritchie having it happening.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like his obsession with trying to maintain that is probably going to be his downfall in some ways. I think it is going to end up maybe not hurting his legacy, but it won't be as strong as it could have been because I don't know if he's ever going to make the thing that he's satisfied enough to be his 10th movie. Because that's got to be the one. So like, how do you make the one?
No, he does feel like paralyzed in this moment as a filmmaker, which is a shame.
I don't know, when did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood come out? 2018, 2019?
Something in that range.
Yeah.
2019.
2019.
So it's, been
6 years,
more than half a decade, which is a long time even for him.
Yeah, even for him. So it's hard to say. And honestly, Fincher, I get he is going back to do some of the Mindhunter stuff, but as movies, but I think Fincher has just kind of been wasting his time with Netflix a little bit. They're giving him money, but like I had to fly to a different city to see his last movie in a theater. Like
it does feel a little bit like Fincher is just kind of dicking around, right?
Yeah.
Like I like The Killer quite a bit.
Me too.
I want him to take on like a big original project again. And I don't know. This feels strange, but maybe this. I mean, look, it's a script by Tarantino. Maybe it's
That's
just
what I mean.
dynamite.
It'll probably be great. I'm not
Right.
saying it won't be. I'm just not sure if it's like, because if Tarantino directed it, it would also be great.
Right.
And we could see like a huge fallout if Tarantino doesn't end up being satisfied with the way that Fincher decides to make the movie, because he's very particular.
Right. Well, it's similar to our discussion of The Social Network and
Yes.
how Fincher worked with Sorkin there. I am maybe a little bit curious to see just like what is the result of Fincher working on a Tarantino script.
Yeah, because like honestly, Fincher can do a lot, but his style has never seemed to line up
Like that.
with Tarantino, especially not a
Yeah.
Cliff Booth story. You're kind of going
Yeah.
for like a stuntman Western type thing.
Yeah.
And David Fincher's never really done that. So I don't know.
I feel like Fincher's movies are usually not as fun as Tarantino scripts,
That's
but
exactly it. Because like honestly,
Yeah.
Social Network, probably one of his funnest movies.
right.
So
One of the other things that David Fincher could be doing but is not currently is, as you said, working on Mindhunter. But Holt McElhaney says there may still be hope. The latest rumor is that rather than return to the show with a third season, it could be resurrected as a
Movies.
trilogy of movies.
I heard.
Amanda, would you be okay with Mindhunter returning in movie form instead of series form?
Yeah, at this point, just give me something. Just finish
Right.
it. Just do something. Especially even if this is the one time I'm like, yeah, give me movies, put them on Netflix. That's great.
I mean, it does feel like since the sort of streaming wars kicked off, all these companies realized that putting tons and tons of money into streaming shows is just not like a viable business model. So like the return to movies is cool with me. And if that means that we just get Mindhunter in that format, yeah, I'm with you. Just give me more Mindhunter. They already, like more so than most series, they already felt kind of like 8-hour movies anyway.
Yes, yeah. So just streamline that. And with a solid trilogy, end it out, because like there's really only I get they can do whatever, but there's only so much in that actual Mindhunter book and what it's like focused on.
Yeah.
Like, dude's got a huge career, but you can only do so much with it, I guess. But
Yeah. I don't know. I just want more in that world.
yeah, me too.
Finally, the New York Times pulled over 500 entertainment industry professionals and published a list of their 100 greatest films of the 21st century so far, pulling from the past 25 years of cinema. A lot of familiar movies up and down the list. In my mind, there were no real gigantic surprises. Amanda, I don't know how much time you've taken to look up and down the list. Parasite came in at number 1, Mulholland Drive at 2,
Yeah.
There'll Be Blood at 3, In the Mood for Love at 4, and Moonlight all the way up at 5.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you had any big takeaways from this list.
None of it's surprising to me. Superbad being at 100 was kind of maybe one of the bigger surprises there.
Yeah, there
but like
were
that top
a couple.
10. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say that top 10 seems pretty as expected. I'm actually surprised Social Network's only at 10. But I guess 21st century is a lot of years. But yeah. How about you? What
There
was the
were
thing?
perhaps a few more crowd pleasers on here than I
Yes.
expected. You mentioned
Yeah.
Superbad at number 100, Anchorman at number 85.
I missed that
Everything,
one. That's
Everywhere All at
crazy.
Once on there. Yeah, I mean there are a bunch of like crowd pleasing movies on here. I think one of the things that didn't surprise me, but I found interesting. Was Mad Max Fury Road all the way up at 11.
Yeah.
Not just because it was that high, but because when I was seeing people publish their like user submissions for the 10 movies they voted for, so many people were voting Mad Max Fury Road. And
Not
granted,
surprising.
I would have chosen it too.
There you go.
But I think it's cool seeing a consensus build around that movie as
Yeah.
one of the best
Yeah.
of the past, 25 years or so.
For sure. For sure.
Happy to see favorites of mine like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and No Country
Same.
for Old Men also in the top 10.
Yeah, same. I think a huge run of Fincher's in here, as expected.
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards got 14, which is great. That is my favorite Tarantino movie, so I'm happy to see
Nice.
that.
I believe I saw that Christopher Nolan is the filmmaker with the most movies on this list.
That makes
he's
sense.
got Interstellar. I think Inception also made the cut.
Must be Inception.
Yeah.
Oh, probably Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
No, that wouldn't be.
Yeah, Dark Knight's 28.
Yeah, so it wouldn't
so-
be. How did Nolan get?
Oppenheimer
Dark Knight is,
and
yeah,
Memento. Oppenheimer and Memento would round out the
yeah.
5 he had on the list.
Yes.
Oppenheimer, a pretty recent movie, making it all the way into the 60s.
Not surprising. A lot of
Yeah.
recency bias. It did really well. Really happy to see Lost in Translation so high up at 30 for Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
Nothing's really... Oh, Bridesmaids is very high up at 32.
Right, another crowd-pleasing comedy.
God. That's actually crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a few Pixar, like it's a pretty like populous list, and maybe that's
is.
partially a consequence of polling 500 people. Is you
Yes.
get fewer idiosyncratic choices, but I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of good choices.
There's a good, some at least decent representation from around the world. You have like Portrait of a Lady on Fire is on here, Y tu mamá también is on here, Yi is on here, Amélie is on here. So it's like, it's all the stuff you expect to see when it's like, oh, what's your favorite movie from X country?
Right.
Oh boy,
Yeah, not surprising.
Moneyball's on it. You must be happy about that. Number 45.
I'm always happy. Yeah.
Of course.
Speaking of Aaron Sorkin scripts, an
Yeah.
excellent one.
That's what I mean. So yeah, nothing super surprising. I don't think honestly, some of those comedies are the most surprising. I genuinely think Bridesmaids being that high up is the most surprising to me.
Yeah, it is.
That's
it is
crazy.
A little surprising on a list of greatest movies, but I'm always happy to see comedy getting love as well.
No hate, just surprise.
Yeah.